Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Awareness in the Ward. This is our 5th event in our 6-part series, and we are so happy to be able to join you in your homes and to be able to bring you some extremely valuable and awesome information on how to be able to keep yourself well, healthy, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I am your host, Ashanti Bell, and we have some amazing speakers for you today, including MD Anderson, Dr. Michelle Wiggins, Randall Moore, and myself. And we will be sharing valuable information for how to stay well and how to keep yourself healthy and reduce your cancer risk, how to keep your stress level down and be able to move monumentally while you're in this season through Corona, as well as cancer scares or cancer diagnosis, and some healthy tips of things that you can be able to do to reduce those ailments or diagnosis. Before we start, I want to definitely let everyone know that we are live and in action here on Zoom. For everyone that is joining us on Zoom, thank you so much. And we're also live on Facebook. Aloha, Facebook family. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get into anything, we want to go ahead and open up with a word of prayer. And we will go ahead and usher in a spirit of humility, understanding, education, and love. Most High, we come before you and we thank you for your grace. We thank you for the opportunity to be able to come before you and commune together. Even though we are all in our separate homes and our separate areas, we are coming together on one accord to be able to build by helping one another. We pray that these words and the seeds, the education and the resources that will be placed in everyone's hearts and minds will be of use for them, that they are able to feel connected, that they are able to feel supported, and that they are able to know that they are not alone. We pray, Father, that your grace will cover us and bless all those that are on this call today and those that are watching. In Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. I want to go ahead and bring our first speaker on. It's going to be Miss Tanu Quinn with MD Anderson. And I'm going to pass it over to you, Miss Tanu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashanti. Today I have with me as well my colleague, Jeanette Strapp.
Hello, everyone.
Thank
you for inviting MD Anderson to speak at the Circle Network's Facebook Live event. We're thankful for the opportunity to educate folks on how to reduce their cancer risk.
Absolutely. Yes, and thanks again for inviting us to your event. So before we get started, I just want to mention that at MD Anderson today, and MD Anderson require all employees to wear masks. So I have my mask with me, but I just took it off because I am alone in my office with nobody else, and I want you to see me and hear me better. But always remember, the best thing we can do to prevent the spread of coronavirus, as MD Anderson recommends, is to practice social distancing, wash your hands frequently, at least 20 seconds, and wearing a mask or face covering when you are out in the public. Okay, so I was just talking about the objective for today's presentations. I hope that the presentation will increase your awareness of cancer risk, the things that you can do to reduce your cancer risk, screening exams, very important, and the screening recommendations. I also hope to motivate you to identify and adopt cancer risk reduction behaviors to lower your cancer risk, and also encourage you to talk to your doctor about the screening exams and also how you can get the appropriate screening exams. Okay, so I have 2 statements here. It doesn't matter what I do. If I'm going to get cancer, I'll get it no matter what. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? So if you agree, give a thumb up. If not, then don't do anything. All right, give you a second to do it. So I don't see any thumb up. So it means everybody disagree. And that's great because the statement is false. So actually, up to half of the cancer deaths in the United States are thought to be preventable, and that means that the key here is control, right? You can do something. There's something that you can do. You can control many habits, and like exercise, diet, tobacco use, and whether you will put on sunscreen, for example, which can affect how likely that you are to get cancer. So today, I hope that I can give you some very concrete tips on how to lower your cancer risk, and give you the screening test that you can talk to your doctor to detect cancer early when cancer is most treatable. And also, I think this presentation is more relevant now than at any time, because focusing on our overall health and well-being is so important now to help us stay healthy, boost our immune system during this stressful and uncertain time, right? So let's go straight to it. So tips number 1, maintaining a healthy weight. So maintaining a healthy weight is not just a matter of appearance. We know that about 1 out of every 3 cancer deaths in the U.S. is due to obesity and overweight, lack of physical activity, and poor nutrition. So being overweight or obese increases your risk of several cancers, including breast cancer, colorectal cancer, uterine, esophageal, and kidney cancers. Now, when we talk about maintaining a healthy weight, right, think about eat less, move more. Now, I know this is a very basic concept, and it's often undervalued, overlooked, but it is so important to remember that if you want to lose weight, eat fewer calories and then burn more calories by exercising. Not overeating is just as important as exercising. So if you are exercising, but you are overeating or eating more than the amount of calorie, may not be the same as the person with less body fat. So also think about good nutrition. Good nutrition is very important during stressful time because it boosts your mood, your overall immune system, prevent unwanted weight gain. I know that's a problem for me during social distancing, working from home. It's very easy to gain a couple extra pounds, at least for me. So reduce your cancer risk and other chronic conditions. So number 2, eat a plant-based diet. So what is a plant-based diet? Right. So when you think about a plant-based diet, think about proportions. So try to fill 2/3 of your plate with plant-based food. For example, vegetable, fruit, and whole grain. The other third of your plate could be lean protein, and lean protein could be chicken, fish, or even plant-based protein like tofu, nuts, or beans. So research has shown that eating more vegetables and fruit greatly lowers your risk of developing several cancers. So fruit and vegetable is always very good, very good. Whole grain is another great way to add fiber and vitamins, minerals into your diet. What are some examples of whole grains? So it could be brown rice, wild rice, quinoa, whole grain corn. Lots of people ask me about how do you cook quinoa, and it's actually easier than we think. So usually they come in the package at the supermarket. So you can it comes with instruction, and it's actually very easy to cook. So again, eating the best possible food is really important.
Amen.
Everybody, mute yourself. Thank you so much. Because boost your energy and strengthening your immune system would help you fight viral infections like COVID-19. So, in hand with eating more fruit and vegetables, we also recommend limiting red meat. We know that consuming too much red meat will increase your risk for colorectal cancer. And what is red meat? So red meat could be beef, pork, lamb, goat, venison, or even liver. So lots of people tell me that pork is not red meat, but it actually is red meat. So remember that. Pork is a form of red meat. And so we recommend that try to limit no more than 18 ounces of cooked red meat per week. And and you can see this is the great slide with the illustration. So 18 ounces is about like 8 golf balls or 6 decks of cards or 4 tennis balls, so you can estimate. But take a minute and think about it. If you, in a week, right, if we eat a plate of pasta with 4 meatballs, and you say you can estimate like the size of a golf ball, right? And then a hamburger here and a steak there, it could easily add up to 18 ounces of cooked red meat. So that's the point of the presentation today, is we kind of want you to visualize and kind of start thinking about the little things that we do every day, right? So I kind of give it away, but let me ask you questions. Click the thumb up button if you think that eating processed meat like bacon or dairy meats increases your cancer risk. So give me a thumb up if you think that's true.
Thumbs up, thumbs up.
So again, eating processed meat like bacon and dairy meat increases your cancer risk. Is that true or false? Give me a thumb up if you think that's true. And that's great. I saw a few thumb up, and that's right. Yes, eating processed meat like bacon and dairy meat increases your cancer risk. And we recommend avoid processed meat. So cancer-causing substances form when the meat is being processed or preserved. So you should eliminate them from your diet. And some example of processed meat is bacon, sausage, hot dogs, pepperoni, dairy meats, right? And I know that especially during the lockdown, it's so easy to go to we don't go to the store as often. So it's easy to, buy processed or bacon sausage and make a sandwich or something like that. If you don't get to go to the store often, but try to think about other alternatives. Like you can buy frozen meat, for example, instead of processed. So we give you some idea. Instead of a hot dog, opt for a chicken sandwich, try a salad, things like that. Number 3, stay active. So being physically active is very important to maintain your weight and also lower your cancer risk. And notice that we do not say, going to the gym or exercising. Being active means that we should first sit less time for each day. So try to sit less and move more. Sitting too much increase your body fat, which leads to cancer and other chronic diseases. And also try to get up and move like 1 or 2 minutes every hour that you are awake. And that's just very important, especially now, like when people stay home more now. I know that the data on screen time is increased. People play video game more than ever before, Netflix, all that. But while we are doing that, it's challenging to, go out and exercise. But trying to remember, get up and move for a few minutes every hour. That also helps. Also, exercise is a great way to reduce stress, which might be high during this time. So, what do we mean by move more, right? So, aim to get at least 115 minutes of moderate exercise per week. And what a moderate exercise could be walking, yoga at home, mowing the lawn, or doing gardening. I know that what I do, I start to do more gardening now when I stay home. And also remember that 150 minutes per week is about 30 minutes per day for 5 days a week. And you don't have to do all 30 minutes at the same time. You can break them down, every 10 minutes here and there, kind of fit into your day. Or if you prefer more intense exercise, get at least 75 minutes of vigorous exercise per week. It's for a healthy goal. So
I wanted to remind everybody to please put your microphones on mute, please.
So some example includes jogging, running, bicycling, or swimming if you have access to a pool. Do muscle strengthening exercise at least twice a week. This is very important to maintain a healthy weight, because the more muscle that you build, the higher your metabolism. So it's help with losing weight or maintain healthy weight. Number 4, don't smoke or use tobacco products. This is so important because tobacco use is the most preventable cause of death in the United States. So I just want to reiterate that, right? It's the number 1, the most preventable cause of death. So we know that cigarette smoking is directly responsible for 80 to 90% of all lung cancers. And also, we know that smokers are likely to have more serious consequences from respiratory illnesses like COVID-19. So quitting now might be a big step toward improving your health, for your lungs, your heart, and your immune system. But I don't smoke, so could I still be at risk? So the answer is yes, if you are exposed to secondhand smoke. So if somebody smoke or use a tobacco product and you indirectly inhale the smoke, that's called secondhand smoke. And this kind of exposure could put you at risk for cancer, heart disease, and other respiratory complications. So the best way is to protect yourself from secondhand smoke is to request that smoking not be done indoor. That could be hard, in some places, apartment complex, for example. But just pay attention to that secondhand smoke is also very dangerous. So I have a question for you. Click the thumb up button if you think that e-cigarettes are a good way to quit smoking. Is that true or false? So thumb up if you think it's true that e-cigarettes are a good way to quit smoking. Okay, so good. I don't see no thumb up. So that's right. So e-cigarettes are not proven to be an effective way to quit smoking. E-cigarettes are not proven as safer than cigarettes. And so e-cigarettes are battery-operated devices that deliver nicotine into the body when a user inhales an aerosol of liquid nicotine. So this liquid nicotine might come in different flavor. And remember that when somebody uses e-cigarette, it's not, and they say, oh, it's harmless because it's just water vapor. It is not water vapor. So it's an aerosol that comes with many chemical and substances. So using e-cigarette may damage your respiratory system, and the damage is likely to increase your risk for COVID-19 complications. They have not been proven as to help smoker quit, and also if you know somebody who smokes, a combination of counseling, nicotine replacement therapy, and medication may be the best way to help them quit. And also, as a reminder, kids and teens should not use e-cigarettes at all, because they can damage their brain, and lots of nicotine can cause addiction and other complications. Number 5, limit alcohol. So drinking just a little bit of alcohol increases your chance of cancer. So for that reason, it's best not to drink alcohol at all for cancer prevention.
Oh, wow.
But if you drink, limit yourself to 1 serving of alcohol per day for women and 2 drinks per day for men. And I mean, people ask like, oh, what is 1 serving of alcohol, right? It depends on the type of alcohol. So 12 ounces for beer, 5 ounces for wine, 1.5 ounce of liquor that are kind of the serving size. But remember that drinking alcohol can disrupt your sleep, make it harder for you to exercise and eat healthy. So it might have a negative effect into your immune system as well. So number 6, get vaccinated. So we know that there are several viruses that are known to cause cancer. And so one of them is the human papillomavirus, or HPV. HPV is a common sexually transmitted infection, and it can lead to a number of cancers, including cervical cancer for women and throat cancer for men. And HPV infection is extremely common. So out of 10 people in the U.S., 9 out of 10 will get exposed to HPV at some point in their life. Now, click the thumb up button if you think that the HPV vaccine is recommended for both boys and girls. Now again, thumb up if you think that HPV vaccine is for both boys and girls.
Yes, I think so. Let's see.
Very good. So I see some thumb up there. Yes, so the HPV vaccine is for both boys and girls. And it's a series of 2 or 3 shots, depends on when the child first get the first shot. We know that the HPV vaccine is safe and effective, and it prevents up to 90% of all cervical cancers. MD Anderson recommend that all males and females aged 9 to 26 years old receive the HPV vaccine, but the vaccine is most effective when given at ages 11 to 12 because that's when the body, that gives the body the time to develop the best immune response. Now, for male and female age 27 to 45 years old, they should strongly consider getting the vaccine and discuss that with their doctor if they can get it. Now, I know this is a lot of information, so if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat or get in contact with the host, and the host will be happy to pass the question to me for more information. Now, also remember to get the Hepatitis B vaccine. So the Hepatitis B virus causes liver cancer. So you might already have been vaccinated as a baby or child against hepatitis B if you were born in the U.S. But if you were born outside the U.S. or you are a child of someone who was born outside of the were born in countries or places where Hep B infection is common, then you should be tested for Hep B. And hepatitis B can be treated if you have it. So it's very important to get tested and to make sure that you already get vaccinated against hepatitis B. Number 7, get screened. So MD Anderson has a specific cancer screening guideline for men and women based on their age. But remember, this information is for people at average risk. Now, if you are at higher risk, for example, you have a family history or you have a personal history of cancer, then talk to your doctor because your recommendation might be a little bit different. But this general recommendation is for people at average risk only. So for women age 21 to 29, we recommend getting a pap test every 3 years. We'll look for signs of cervical cancers. Also consider clinical breast exam every 1 to 3 years, starting at age 25. Now, notice that we use the word consider. So basically, considers mean that you think about whether you should get it, whether you should get a clinical breast exam and bring it up to your doctor and decide. So just consider. But we do recommend, it's very important that we get the pap test every 3 years. So women in their 30s, just continue getting their pap test, but also add the HPV test every 5 years. So if you do the pap test and the HPV test and the results are normal, then you can do them every 5 years. Now the HPV test is very similar to the pap test. So they usually do them at the same time. And then the pap test will tell you if there's anything abnormal in your cervix area, but the HPV test can tell you your HPV infection, whether you are infected with HPV. So do them together every 5 years is the best way to screen for cervical cancer and other conditions. Also continue to consider the breast exam every 1 to 3 years. Now, starting in the 40s, you should continue doing the test for cervical and breast cancer. So in addition, MD Anderson recommend adding the yearly mammogram along with the clinical breast exam. Continue to do the PAP and HPV test every 5 years. So just continue doing that as long as the results are normal. So even though I haven't mentioned colonoscopy yet, I want to point out that African American women should begin colorectal cancer screening at age 45.
45.
So women in their 30s and older should add a test to look for signs of colorectal cancer, and it's called a colonoscopy. Doing the colonoscopy every 10 years. But remember, African American women should begin colorectal cancer screening earlier at age 45. And continue to do the yearly mammogram, clinical breast exam, continue to get the PAP test and HPV test every 5 years until 65. So once you reach 65, talk to your doctor whether you should continue the PAP or HPV test. So for women ages 75 and older, talk to your doctor about the benefit and risk of screening so that you can make the most informed decisions whether you should continue screening or not. Now for men, beginning at age 45, men should speak with their healthcare provider to determine if prostate screening is right for them. So men with family history of prostate cancer and African American men should have this discussion even earlier. Now, also, if you are African American, you should also begin your colonoscopy at age 45.
45.
So from ages 50 to 74, MD Anderson also recommends that men begin colorectal cancer screening at age 50 with a colonoscopy every 10 years. Now remember, African American men should begin colorectal cancer screening earlier at age 45. So once you reach age 75 and older, the same for, as women, talk to your doctor about the benefit and risk of screening so that you can make the most informed choice. Now also get tested for hepatitis C. So Hep C, like Hep B, also cause liver cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But unfortunately, right now there's no vaccine against hepatitis C. So baby boomers, who are people born between 1945 and 1965, they are at especially higher risk for hepatitis C infection. So about 75% of people with Hep C are baby boomers. So get tested if you have Hep C, then it can be treated. And the treatment success rate is very high. It's about 90%. Number 8, protect yourself from UV rays or from the sun, especially too during the summertime in Houston, right? So skin cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in the U.S. And most often this results from too much exposure from the sun or from using tanning beds. So the best way is to stay in the shade and avoid going outside between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. when possible. So, but if you find the need to go outdoor, you can go out exercise. The best way to protect your skin is to use a broad spectrum sunscreen, or it's called SPF 30 or higher, and covering up, with dark, tightly woven clothing, wear sunglasses. Remember that make sure that your sunglasses has both UVA and UVB protection. Also, consider wearing a hat with large brim to protect your ears and neck. So many people are spending more time outdoors to cope with the emotional impact of social distancing, staying at home orders. But so now is a great time to get into the habit of applying sunscreen before you go out, right? So number 9, know your family history. It is very important to know if people in your family had cancer, but not just that. It's not just cancer, but find out like what kind of cancer. Find out is the more information as you can. So this information, along with your personal health history, can help your doctor find out if you are at increased risk and whether you are at increased risk for a cancer that is in the family. So we know that about 5 to 10%, oops, I think it's the, oh, there we are. So I'm sorry about that. So about 5 to 10% of cancer cases are hereditary. So if you suspect a family member cancer could be hereditary, then the family should consider doing genetic counseling and testing to determine each individual's risk. Now that's all I have for you today. I know it's a lot of information, but we can send this out afterward. And this card here kind of summarize the information that I present today, so you don't have to remember. So Ashanti, we can send this card out to you afterwards, so you can forward to the group, right?
Absolutely.
So let's review what we learned. How many different ways can help us to reduce cancer risk, right? So first, maintain a healthy weight, eat a plant-based diet, be active, sit less, move more, build strength, don't smoke or use tobacco, limit alcohol, drink water, opt for healthier drinks, get the Hpv and hepatitis B vaccines, get tested for hepatitis C and cancer, including breast cancer, cervical cancer, colorectal cancer, and prostate cancer and colorectal cancer for men. Protect your skin from the sun. Know your family history. So there's many things that you can do to help reduce your risk of cancer or detect it as early as possible when it's easily treated. So, if you have any questions about getting screening, scheduling for screening, this is the information. But if you want to look for more information, you can also go to this website right here, mdanderson.org/prevention. We have more information on cancer prevention for you. And I don't know do we have time for questions?
Yes, absolutely.
I actually do see one question. It is, how can you contract Hep C?
Okay, so get tested for. So, one way that so hepatitis C is is sexually transmitted infections, and it also can be transmitted through blood. And we know that like a majority of people with Hep C in the U.S. Is baby boomers, who were born, between 45 and 65, and yeah, so they there's many ways, but two main ways: through blood transfusion and also sexually transmitted.
Okay.
All right, no more questions. So it's been a pleasure, Ms. Bell. Thank you so much for having us on this afternoon. And so again, as Tonu mentioned, if anyone via Facebook or via the Zoom, they come up with any additional questions after the fact, please feel free to forward them on to me or Tonu, and we will get those answers to them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Jeanette. Thank you so much, Miss Tanu, for being able to be on and being able to share how to prevent and lower your risk of cancer. I do have one quick question. If cancer is, let's say, an environmental issue, are there certain things environmentally that you can do to protect yourself?
We would recommend like the what we talk about in the presentations, right? Just pay attention to your diet, exercise, and screening exam is key. So that's why we will send out the screening guideline here. So if you are in this age group and you think, oh, it's time for me to schedule a screening exam, then talk to your doctor about screening exam. That would be some of the best ways to prevent cancer.
Absolutely. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, ladies, so much. Being able to test and get in early is so important to the longevity and the life of someone that may be or may not be affected with cancer. So thank you so much, MD Anderson, for everything that you guys do. You all are excellent, being an advocate to be able to be there for people, not just in research, but also in treatment. Thank you all so much for doing what you do, and we appreciate having you guys on. Thank you. We usually do hand claps because we're in a room, but we're going to give you guys your ovations now. Thank you guys so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Janu.
Absolutely.
All right.
You have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well. We're switched really quick to hosting. Yep. Oh, excellent. We are great. Awesome. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. Now, as they mentioned, being able to be preventative is the key. Being able to get testing done early, being able to detect whether you have a predisposed condition due to the fact that it's hereditary or environmentally, that may increase your risk. So because you know that you're already at a higher risk due to those things, get tested early. That is so important to being able to be strong and to be able to catch anything before it allows to grow and germinate. So thank you so much, MD Anderson, for being on and offering those resources. If anyone has any questions, concerns, or needs more information, definitely reach out to us and we will connect you with the resources. Our next guest is going to be amazing mind. She is a psychologist specialty, and I would love to bring to the podium, the virtual podium, Dr. Michelle Wiggins. Dr. Michelle Wiggins, you have the stage.
Hi everyone, how are you doing tonight?
We're doing well. How are you?
I am fabulous. Can't complain at all. I know that we're on a little time crunch, so I just want to kind of give y'all some heads up and just kind of talk with you a little bit about what we're going through and how to deal with our new normal. I'm a clinical psychologist background trade. I'm a professor, teacher at different universities, and I'm also a psychologist in San Antonio at UT Health Science Center. So I do a lot in the field. My youngest patient's been 3 years of age. My oldest has been 102. And so one of the things I notice is that a lot of people are struggling with, I'm sorry you're going to have a new baby in the background. I just had a new baby, and
congratulations.
She's learning how to eat, and she's not participating in the quietness of today right now. Normally we have quiet mode, so I'm sorry for the distraction in the background. But one of the things I want to let y'all know is that a lot of people have been struggling with just how to get through in the new normal and adjusting with the new normal since COVID-19 has taken place. And I just kind of want to leave some little nuggets to kind of let people kind of see where you are right now. Looking at the silver lining of the reality of everything that's going on. And sometimes it's really hard to adjust and readjust to something that seems very unforeseeably, undoubtedly, what they call the unknown circumstances. And a lot of times it causes us to have to just take a step back and say, we can't handle this, and you kind of either become really recluse, very isolated. But in this case, you kind of learn to, you can't become isolated as much as you have to be isolated, if that makes sense. And so the thing is, we're actually forced by mandatory or kind of suggested requirements to stay isolated so we can protect ourselves. But a lot of times people are saying, well, I don't have these pre-existing conditions, and I'm already an isolated person. Now you're adding me into another isolated environment. You're causing my stress to be more manifest. Or I'm now having to look at reality and see this person that I didn't really get along with all the time, but now I have to look at them, and now I have to see what that looks like. Now you're increasing my anxiety that I thought I had under control, but now all of a sudden it's been magnified. And I don't really understand what that looks like. I really am not an anxious person, but COVID-19 has helped to draw up some unresolved anxiousness that I used to have in the past. And what does that look like? And so people will say, well, this is what I don't understand. How do I get through this? And I think the best way to look at it is evaluate the silver lining in everything that's going on. And it looks so unknown. It looks so unbelievable. It looks so frustrating. But really, truthfully, it's bringing you together. It's helping you have family time. It's helping you not to miss the milestones and markers that are very important. And sometimes it just gives you a chance to take a step back and regroup, reshape who you are, look at your identity, kind of get you to hustle back if you didn't have it, to really evaluate what your purpose and your passion is, to not really get to the point where you can say, I'm giving up, and then you can say, I can regroup, I can look back, because I may not have the ability to work and do the things I want to do financially because maybe my bartending job is closed down and I'm worried about how I'm going to make payment and rent and things of that nature. But they're resources, right? And if you don't utilize those resources at this point, or they may be denied because they say you didn't qualify for it. Okay, fine. But guess what? You're safe. Guess what? You're not in a position where you're put at risk. The biggest thing that I think that sometimes people don't understand is when I take me out of the equation and I evaluate holistically the reality of what is happening, and I can look at it in a different perspective, I can then assess the silver lining of all that is happening, and I can now regroup and have a different set of peace of mind to identify what my purpose and my passion is. Mm-hmm. That helps you to mentally and holistically reshape your identity. Because you're the change agent in all of this. If we treat this like it's a death sentence, in the whole journey of it, we're going to process it as a death sentence. If we treat it like it is causing us so much anxiety and separation to our identity, things of that nature, guess what happens? It takes away the whole process and the belief system to what the reality of COVID-19 was supposed to be for. Absolutely. So I just want people to just kind of take some time out to regroup, shape around what they really want to look at. If you can't see anything, do yourself a favor and evaluate the silver lining within yourself. What is it that you're supposed to be doing? Is there some things you're supposed to be seeing? Is there places you're supposed to be going? Is there new places to transfer to, job-wise, career-wise? Is it time for you to look at your passion as opposed to looking at your just career and your job? Because sometimes you're looking at, I just want to go to a job. You can always replace the job, but you can't replace that person, that family member, that loved one. You put yourself at risk. You go out to these parties and do these different things. But guess what happens? You bring all of that type of, all of those unknown asymptomatic symptoms now are present in your family and your loved ones, and then they can be getting it. And then until it hits home, it don't become your new reality. Mm-hmm. So I just really want people to kind of reshape their identity with this and just kind of do some soul searching during this COVID-19 pandemic. And just kind of search on your silver lining and kind of learn how to boss up your lifestyle, hustle in your own mindset. Most importantly, get some help while you can, because COVID-19 didn't cause us divorces. It didn't cause separations, and it didn't cause the anxiety. It may have increased it, but at the end of the day, it was something that was laying dormant, and you just now having it manifest. So get the help that you need, get the counseling and the support that you need, the resources. Utilize this time to your advantage, because we won't get another COVID-19. And as they say, if something happened like this years ago and they went over and overcame it and they came through, develop your sense of resiliency, your bounce back, your mojo, and just let's kind of stick to this together in a way that we develop this positive energy as we're entering into this new lifestyle. Because this is our new normal. It's about how we process that. It's about how we accept it. And most importantly, how we maintain our sense of identity in the midst of it. I wish y'all all the best. Thank y'all for the opportunity to speak. And I'll let Ms. Bell take the floor.
I definitely love what you have to say. Can I ask you, do you have any suggestions on how people can go through that evaluation space, that evaluation phase, and what are some ways to be able to really dig in and go inward? What are some coping mechanisms to be able to really do that and evaluate yourself?
Absolutely. Some of the things that you can do is something like journaling, and now you can start looking at just kind of dissecting. Like, people don't like journaling, right? So I don't even want you to call it journaling. Just kind of looking at some insightful ways that you can look at your new chapter. Taking this little book and saying, chapter 39, what does this look like? Whatever age you are, this chapter, this phase in my life, and how to address and identify with that. And so if you can look at that, it usually helps you to see those things. Kind of see, okay, let's go exercise. We can't go outside, but maybe we can do something in the backyard. Maybe we can kind of do some binge watching on some favorite shows, do some family time. Because think about it, how many of Houstonians in general was able to get family time in the traffic and the things that we got to go through? You know, since COVID-19, I love driving to this city in Houston because I'm like, oh, it's the traffic. Yes, I could get somewhere in 15 minutes when it would take me an hour just to go down the street because of traffic, you know? So I just think that the coping mechanisms have to go all the way down to like identifying, going back into touch with your childhood. What did your inner child self like? What did you not like? What are things that made you happy? There's not a time in your life that you've been miserable all your life. So what was it that you enjoyed to do when you were in your happy moment? To search for that, because this opportunity gives you a chance to research who you are, because it gives you a chance to focus on nothing but the space within the walls that you have. And sometimes that can be some ugly stuff. But guess what happens? In the mix of you trying to do that, it gives you a chance to help you assess that so that you won't have to be fighting with yourself with this. Because at the end of the day, if I don't love myself, I can't be by myself, which is why I'm struggling with being in my space of myself. And that's where the problem comes in at. So when people say, oh, I'm stuck home, I'm tired of being home. No, introverts are like to be out in the spotlight. And I get that, right? Because I'm an introvert. But at the end of the day, I also like being in my own space too, because I love me enough to be comfortable in my space. And that's just the bottom line. So the coping mechanisms go from reading, writing, go back to some of the things you enjoy, painting. I had somebody, I recently told one of my clients, I said, what did you like to do the most when you was a kid? And she said, I was in my happy place when I used to do my painting and my art and drawing. It's okay, your assignment is to do just 2 assignments until I see you next Tuesday. She's like, oh my gosh, it was like the most hardest / easiest thing to do. But then I felt so guilty. And after I started doing it, I started like binging on it. And just like the whole 4 hours, I just went in my space of drawing and painting. And she said her husband looked at her and was like, are you a kid or what? What are you doing? You ain't got nothing else to do? She's like, all we got is time. So I got some extra things to do. And I said, but it didn't hurt you to do that. And she said, no, but it bothered the other people because did she look so much at peace in that space? Again, that's a coping mechanism. So those coping mechanisms are things that you have to go really deep inside and figure out what is it that you enjoy doing and like doing. Like for me, I don't get to watch TV much. So if I get to watch my favorite shows like Good Doctor or This Is Us and things of that nature, I'm excited because I'm like, oh, okay. Because I don't care if it's at 1 o'clock in the morning. I might binge on the show from 1 to 4 o'clock. Now, I'm going to suffer in the morning trying to get up in the morning to go to clock on and get with some clients and stuff. But I don't feel guilty for my pleasures because I didn't have that opportunity to do it if I was forced to be at work at this certain time. I'm just having to get up, roll out the bed, brush my teeth, and log on. So to me, this is convenient. You know, they don't know that I didn't take a shower at the early part of the day. I might have to take it at the lunch hour time of the day, you know, because at the end of the day, what am I looking at? I'm just looking at Zoom on the computer. So I could get used to this lifestyle because I know that I have options and I have choices. And I think that's the thing with coping mechanisms. You have to look at what your options and your choices are. If one of the things you like to do is like house look, I don't know, like on the weekends I like going to look at houses and stuff because I'm a dreamer for houses. So instead of me doing that then and going physically out, now I may pick 2 hours of my time on a weekend on a Sunday after I finish listening to my message or whatever I feel like doing. I'm going to take another 2 hours and I may say, let me go look at some houses in different areas that I think I would want land and vision where I would like my business to be. Things of that nature. Because it helps me to be able to say, this is my new me and how I plan on using that time to make sure that I execute that as I'm moving forward with that. Absolutely. See what I'm saying? So the thing about it is you can look at exercising. Social media is probably addicted to people, right? But find another outlet. If instead of social media, pick up the phone and call somebody you haven't talked with in a long time. Because this is a space that you can ask, you can have that chance to speak with somebody after their hours or whatnot, or while they quote unquote working from home, they can talk to you. Because they really like, the boss doesn't know that they're not really on the phone all the time or chimed in or whatever the case is. So I've been able to catch up with people that I haven't caught up with in a long time. And it's not like I feel guilty about it. When normally I'm going so fast that I'll say I'm going to get with them, but I can't. And so I just think that those are important things to look into. The other things would be like reflecting. Self-affirmations are most important for coping mechanisms. Because when you think about it, at the end of the day, a lot of times what we do is we say, well, this is woe is me type thing. We're looking on TV and the news and the media saying all these things, and we're like, okay, next I'm going to get it. And I hear people saying a lot of times, they say, I might as well just get my body immune to it. To do what? If you get your body immune to something, you don't get it, then what happens next? Now or if you receive it, and then the one person that get it that can't fight it off would be like your grandmother or your mother now. And then what are you going to say? How are you going to feel? How are you going to live with that? Absolutely. We first heard about it and it was taken over in New York, and they didn't have enough places or spaces to bury those people, and they was putting them in the back of the trucks and 18-wheelers. To me, that was the most heartbreaking thing, because I was just like, so many people are not even going to have a chance to say goodbye to their loved ones. Absolutely. When they're in the hospital, so many people are not going to have a chance to do one thing: be with them in the presence of their anxiety and their loss and their pain. Absolutely. And then the thing about it is, everybody's so scared. You sneeze wrong, someone think it's COVID-19. I could just have sinus issues. So root cause anxiety and PTSD has been it's encapsulated in everybody's face now. Everybody got some form of PTSD since COVID-19. Period. It has caused symptoms of anxiety, depression, frustration, pain, and just the list goes on. The problem is it becomes chronic when you don't treat it. Period. So you need to go get some counseling, some help, professional assistance, someone to be able to see you in a way that they can help you understand it. And you really and truthfully need to be in touch with your new reality. This is your new normal. Get over it. Internationals did not get over it in the last couple of months. It's taken them 6 months or more. So what makes the United States of America think we are any different? If people who are in India and Italy and Singapore and places like that been battling this since October, newsflash, we're not nowhere near done with this. No. This is our new normal, and let's move forward with it. And how do we do that? The other things that you asked about, like how do they incorporate the different techniques? Start practicing new steps. If what you've been doing is not working for you, it goes all the way back to insanity. Try something different. And each time you try something different, from counseling to books, research, self-affirmation, self-thought processing, devotions, things of that nature. If those are not working, find something else that will. If your space is messed up, fix it. If it's your environment, reshape it. You can't kick everybody out. So some of the common denominators are who? Look at yourself, reflection of the two-way mirror. See what you can do for your own self before you can try to fix others.
Excellent. Now, let me ask you one question. A lot of the time that we have been given for those that have families, we've been able to spend it with those that we love. What about those that do not have families and they feel isolated already? And so now that they've been placed into this space, then they feel even more isolated. What are some of the things to watch out for in reference to mental behavior, so that you know, hey, I may need to reach out to somebody about this? And how can they cope a little bit with being so distant from others?
So it goes back to learning how to cope with themselves. So they got to look at the bigger picture of this. So here's the deal when I tell this to people. I remember when my nurse had told one of my caregivers had said, "This is happening, woe is me, I don't have a job, I can't work right now, blah, 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 blah. And I'm all by myself, I'm all alone." And I had to tell them, it's affecting everyone. So if this was just affecting you, then we can kind of reevaluate it and figure out how to assess you. Here's the thing. When it affects the whole world, then now it's time to look at yourself. This gives you a two-way mirror to evaluate yourself. If you don't like being alone, then you need to find out why you don't like being alone. You're isolated, yes, and we're having to be more isolated. That means find some creative ways to do some things that will help you to enjoy yourself. Because guess what happens? You came in this world alone, you're going to die alone.
That's true.
And so the bottom line is that you have to figure out how to enjoy being in your own space. Looking at what do you like to do, how you can create the new you. Because this is not going to change. So are we going to stay in the funk? Are we going to process it in a way that we're going to always be mad and sad with our life? Are we going to have to look at it in a way that we can say, you know what? I think I can do something different. Absolutely. I think that at this point in time, I can look at my life and say, I can't keep living in this state of misery. I was miserable before COVID-19. So if I'm miserable before COVID-19, I'm going to be miserable during COVID-19. I'm not going to be able to be...
See, here's the deal. You can't go and say, well, go to counseling. I didn't appreciate counseling before COVID-19, so how am I going to appreciate it now?
Right.
I can't say, oh, well, just find someone to talk to, find your outlet. I didn't know what my outlet looked like before. It goes all the way back to reassessing who you are and what you really like. If you don't know that, then get some help so we can help you find out what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Because after a while, you spend too much time trying to do the woe is me, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, you missed out on everything.
That's true.
And the silver lining is what you're going to miss throughout all of this. There's so much that people could be doing. I have seen it where COVID-19 has changed so many people's lives, and they was like, I knew I could downsize now. I now opened up my new business. I now realized that I don't have to do this, or I don't have to do that. I can change up things. I have realized, they were like, I can have all of this in place that I can do everything that I need to do to touch base with my new self and my new reality. And I think that's what sometimes people don't understand. I think if I was in the mix of COVID-19, as much as I go 100 miles per hour, I would have missed key moments of my baby eating and things of that nature. I would have missed like, oh, she's going to have this on her own. Because somebody else would have been telling me that story.
That's true.
And not me being able to see it. The other things are, like, in the mix of it, your kids, they were homeschooled. Now you get to see exactly what is wrong and troublesome with your kids that the teachers are telling you every day.
That's true.
Have to listen to it.
That's
Do
true.
you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, now the kids are not struggling. They struggle with math, and the teachers was telling you this. Guess what happens now? Now you see the struggle, and you understand the struggle because now you're a part of the struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true.
You can also look at it and say, okay, now I have to look at one more thing. Me. What can I do differently?
Absolutely.
What can I do to change my new mindset?
Absolutely.
And it's all going to take work. It's all going to take to do different. Just think about it. I've never seen so many people be so upset and be so frustrated about the mask. The mask protects who? Still others and you. To make sure all of y'all are protected. It's not killing you. It's protecting you. I bet if I said I'm going to give you $1 million to wear that mask, you'll wear it with no problem. But because you feel forced, you feel powerless, you feel controlled, you now said, no, I'm not giving you that pass. Oh, I can't get my hair done, I can't get my nails done. Okay, let's put you back in your natural state. You didn't always have those opportunities and those luxuries.
That's true.
They now become a part of your new identity. Right. But it should not be your new you.
Right.
It should not detect you. It should not assess you. It should not create you. It is just added to you. When I became Dr. Wiggins, I tell people all the time, call me Michelle. Because when I die, I'm dying Michelle. My student loans did not. They died with me. So again, I died as who? Michelle. I did not die as Dr. Wiggins. They died with me. So I did not recognize with the loans associated that I'm going to have my debt riding with me. My debt dies with me. Again, everything that you do, it is a part of your creation as it connects to you. So the only change agent that is a part of this whole component, from coping to resonation to understanding, processing it and all, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
You.
Absolutely.
You and you.
Absolutely.
The energy you have, the connection you have, the identity that you have, the relationship that you have, it's all part of you. This is the time to make and break some of those relationships. This is the time to figure out how to reconnect with some of those relationships. This is the time to be able to look at your brand new you.
Absolutely.
And say, how can I reconnect with me?
Absolutely.
During COVID-19.
Absolutely. That is absolutely excellent. Everything does go back to you, and it's so important. Can you please tell our guests how to be able to contact you and reach out if they feel that they need to be able to speak with someone or get that type of affirmation?
Absolutely. So my email address is dreamcatcherscoach@gmail.com. Let me get my business number. And my business cell number, my business number is 832-888-8255. 832-674-3227. And that's my cell phone associated with my business. And that's Dream Catchers. 832-674-3227.
Perfect. And we will also make sure that this information is included on our Facebook Live and in the chat so people can be able to contact you and reach out. And I think you definitely touch on some very valuable points. You are who you were to begin with. All those additives are just things that are additives, but who are you when all of those things are stripped away? And that is extremely important when you have to be by yourself, like COVID.
COVID makes you see it for yourself, the reality of it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what some people are afraid of. What does that stuff look like? And that's the part where you have to go back and look. You're going to be stuck, even when it comes to therapy. I've seen people in therapy for 7 years and still in the same position they were when they first started. So change those perspectives. Go in and look at it differently. If I think every day I'm dying, then every day I'm going to live my life like I'm dying. I think I'm a millionaire. Every day I walk into space like I'm a millionaire, even if I don't have a millionaire status. I walk, talk, and think like a millionaire. It's about the way your mindset is. Create your new mindset. Look at the silver lining. COVID-19 was not designed to destroy us. It was not designed to tear marriages and they said that the rates of the inquiries of divorce increased significantly since COVID-19.
Wow.
Why?
That's
why?
That's
domestic violence was one of the biggest concerns I thought when I first seen COVID-19 take place. I said, because now they don't have an outlet. So those people who was really going to work and fighting with, they had space to get away from, they didn't have it. So create your new space. If that space is so bad to live in, that means if it was before COVID, it was bad. Then with COVID, you need to reshape it so you can get your new identity back.
That is absolutely excellent, and it's important for everyone to realize that there are resources like Dr. Wiggins that can be able to help you through this journey. You don't have to do it alone. Even though we are separate, we are still able to come together and add value to each other's space and add support and resources to one another's space, especially when we need it the most. Like you said, a lot of times you cast off things that are not your priorities at that moment, and now that you have to face them, then they become your priorities. And so it's important to dig deep, because when everything really restarts, you want to restart better than where you started off at. So that is extremely important. Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Wiggins, for being on and sharing this valuable information, because it is so true. Absolutely so true. And we will make sure that we have her information for you guys at home so that you can reach out. If you feel anything, you feel stressed, you feel frustrated, you feel as though it's difficult for you to get through, the first thing is evaluate yourself. Evaluate your space and really what it is that made you happy to begin with, and get back to the root of those things. And if you can't find those things, Dr. Wiggins is here to help you through it.
That's right. Evaluate your triggers, because if something triggers you to be the person that you are, react the way you are, or get really kind of isolated or shut down. Look at those triggers, evaluate it, so you won't have to let something so so irrelevant be so controlling. Because sometimes when you go back and look at all of this, you'll say, oh, that was irrelevant. That wasn't as important as this is. Or, the life that I have is more important than this. And if my life is not important, I need to figure out why it's not important.
That is so true.
Goes back to becoming in search of who you are then. Get to that bottom line.
Absolutely. That is absolutely excellent. One of the things that I know that has been extremely helpful is realizing that things are invitations, right? So the emotions that we feel, or anything that comes to disturb the peace that we had at that moment, is an invitation for something else, an invitation to be in that space. Your initial reaction doesn't necessarily have to be the reaction you take. And so being able to take a step back, I know for me, saying these are not my thoughts, these are not my energies, has been something that is monumental for me, because it differentiates what are my energies and what are not, what are just invitations.
Exactly.
And when you get in a space of knowing what is an invitation, you can decline that invitation. Not everything requires your answer to it. And so those trigger pieces, like Dr. Wiggins says, what triggers you? What are those pieces? What is you and what is not you? What do you want and what don't you want? And being able to take your dominion in that, in your space, because it's your own mind. Those are your thoughts, or they're not your thoughts. Those are your invitations, or they're not your invitations, but you have the choice to choose. That's the only thing that you have the choice to do, is to choose what you do. Everything else is a happenstance of other choices, but you can choose what you do and how you react to something and what that outcome will be based on what you do. So we will have that.
Sorry.
That's excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Wiggins, for sharing this. This is absolutely excellent. Guys, we are moving hot on the presses. As we know, when we're in person, we clap, right, guys? We clap. That's it. Thank you so much, Dr. Wiggins, for your grace and your knowledge. It's excellent.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Anytime. Thank you so much, too.
No problem. All right. Our next podium guest, virtual podium guest, is going to be Randall Moore, and he's coming on to give you some excellent tips on how to use what the earth has to be able to heal yourself. Randall Moore, I turn the tables over to you. Randall. Let's see if we can get him on here. Oh, there we go.
Y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
We are doing very well, getting some amazing information today on how to be able to stay safe from cancer and how to be able to balance our energies.
That's right. That's right. First of all, I just want to give thanks to the goddess Left Eye, whose birthday is today. And, you know, she would have been, I believe, 50. But, yes, I want to talk about a few things as it pertains to a lot that people are dealing with and a lot that is going on, issues that, you know, a lot of people are facing right now. Okay? So, you know, one of the things is parasites, you know, cancer, herpes, etc. in the foods, herbs, and crystals that you want to use to assist with these things, as well as protection from 5G radiation. Now, I know last time I spoke, I wasn't able to go in deep detail, but I, you know, touched on a few things such as turpentine. I wanted to reiterate on that. And so, again, you know, when it comes to parasites and whatever the issue may be, turpentine or turpentine is a great product that you want to have in your house. The brand for that is the Pure Gum Spirits. And the reason why they call it that is because I believe during the so-called slavery times, this is what people was using in regards to healing for the body. And so turpentine was made from the pine tree that helps to get rid of, you know, parasites, fungus, candida. It helps to improve with the autism, arthritis, colds and flu viruses. So, speaking of colds and flu viruses, turpentine, Pure Gum Spirits is something that is highly needed in your household. You know, it's recommended that you take this turpentine 2 to 3 times a week. Other sources suggest that you take it 5 days a week for 6 weeks at a minimum. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. And so, in the ancient Egyptian times, you know, you had holistic pharaohs such as Imhotep, also known as the father of medicine, who would give turpentine to their patients for lung disease, gallbladder, and kidney stones. And so, in the French times, the doctors would prescribe this turpentine.
Randall, I think that we...
Hey, I'm still on?
There we go. Yep, we hear you. We can hear you. You're on.
Yes. Again, as I was saying, in the French times, you had doctors out there who was prescribing turpentine for excessive mucus and bladder infections, as well as urinary tract infections. Now, the movie actor Tiffany Haddish, once stated that turpentine helped with pain, colds, flu, etc. So we want to always make sure that we, get some turpentine for multiple causes. Now, a lot of people there are unaware that eating bad can put you at a risk of parasites. And if, a person is dealing with a parasitic acidic infection, what you want to do is you can add a teaspoon of that turpentine to a teaspoon of sugar. Why? Because parasites feed off the sugar. And so what the turpentine does, it will expel the worms once they eat the sugar with the turpentine. So turpentine is a highly effective liquid for killing off parasites. It also activates the pineal brain, or first that. Now once you expel the intestinal worms, you want to consume whatever that kills parasitic babies, like have black walnut. You can get the herb, the oil, the seed, or the powder. You have the papaya fruit. The papaya fruit is maybe the most talked about fruit when it comes to killing parasites. You want to put that in your smoothie. The seeds is highly potent for intestinal issues. So if someone who's eating is bad and they really want to go on a cleanse as far as your digestive system, which is mostly where the immune system is, then you want to start consuming a lot of papaya fruit because it is very healthy for your colon, your digestive system, your lymphatic system. Because we have to keep in mind our intestine is like the length of us. It extends 6 feet or more. So there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned out every so often. You have cloves that is known to kill off parasites. There's an herb by the name of cat's claw. And this is a highly effective herb with many issues such as leaky bowels, hemorrhoids. You have colitis, ulcers, cancer, Alzheimer's, HIV/AIDS, herpes, and it also kills parasites. So it's a highly effective herb for treatment of many things. Castor oil is a wonderful oil. It's a dewormer. So again, when it comes to getting rid of parasites, you want to get you some castor oil. There's other herbs that deal with parasitic infections, such as Paudiarco, which once again, it treats ulcers, urinary tract infections, candida yeast, diabetes, and prostate. Wormwood is another herb, which is great for going on a parasite cleanse. It's a great herb that you want to keep with you. You have ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. That helps to remove worms and parasites. And also vitamin C is what produces hydrogen peroxide. So one of the healthiest ways to keep your cells healthy, your body healthy, your skin inside and out is to keep your body oxygenated, because oxygen is what purifies your cells, is what purifies your blood, keep your blood on the right pH level. It's what does many wonders for you. You have produce foods like seeded grapes that contains a lot of hydrogen peroxide, high watery fruits, a lot of foods that is very beneficial for you. And so those are some things that I wanted to touch on. Now, if people are new to hydrogen peroxide, want to know what that is. Well, it's a concentrated liquid composed of hydrogen and oxygen. And those two go hand in hand with iron. Without iron, oxygen isn't able to flow through the body like it needs to. So whenever a person isn't getting oxygen to the brain, you have Alzheimer's. So there's no oxygen going to the body. It's because of an iron deficiency. Iron is the most magnetic element out of the 102 minerals. It's what pulls in all the other minerals. This is what prevents 30 to 40 of the most common known diseases here in the U.S. So when the body's at a deficient rate of iron, then one can be susceptible to 30 to 40 other common diseases here in the U.S. And so no virus can live in a body that's oxygenated, because oxygen is what kills the virus. So when you eat produce foods like your seeded grapes, for example, your mangoes, your blackberries, etc., you are producing a lot of oxygen to the body. You have herbs that contains a lot of iron, because iron is what is needed for almost every issue and ailment that you can think of. Yellow dock is one. You have the herb burdock root. Now, Dr. Sebi once stated that sarsaparilla root contained the highest content of herb, more than any herb you can think of. So when you combine those, so when you bind those all together, you have an iron pack. Get into the study of looking up what is sodium thiosulfate. Sodium thiosulfate is said to be very great for the body. Thiosulfate is spelled Thiosulfate, thiosulfate. I want to talk about the immune system and what is the immune system, because we know that keeping your immune system healthy and strong is what it's all about when it comes to being healthy and staying to the best health of yourself. So a lot of people are saying that 5G radiation can weaken us to, okay, how can we protect ourselves from radiation, which causes cancer? Radiation is in everything, your phone, any device, computer, etc. So there's a lot of things to know as it pertains to your immune system and how to keep yourself healthy with the use of certain foods, herbs, crystals, for example. Crystals is carbon, and carbon is a life force element. So one good crystal to have is shungite, as I mentioned once before. Shungite is what absorbs radiation It's one of the most of the powerful crystals you want to have with you. You can put it in your pocket, wear it around you. Maybe put some in your car, in your house. Shungite crystal is heavily needed for the absorption of radiation. Now, 70% of the immune system is in the digestive system. So that means that in order to stay healthy, we have to keep our digestive system healthy. We have to eat the right foods. We have to go on a cleanse with the digestive system and keep it healthy, keep our cells healthy. So 70% of the immune system is in the digestive system. 30% is the T3 and the T4 cells, which is your white blood cells. And it sits right above the heart. This herb right here, basil or basil, B-A-S-I-L, this herb increases the T3 and the T4 cells in the blood, which is in the white blood cells that are produced by the thymus gland. So, I want to get you the herb basil. And here are some herbs that fight against infections. Fennel is a great herb because it's an herb that is a digestive system herb. So when you consume fennel, you are cleansing the digestive system. It fights against herpes, influenza, respiratory infections. So when we're talking about how to keep the throat area healthy, you want to get you some fennel and you want to get the herb mullein. Mullein is M-U-L-L-E-I-N, mullein. So, and also you want to get you some elderberry. You can get it in the berry form or you can get it in the liquid form. Elderberries and mullein, they like go hand in hand. Lemon balm is a great herb that fight against infections. You have herbs such as rosemary, peppermint, which both contains terpenes, as well as the herbs eucalyptus and spearmint. Now, what is terpenes? Okay, terpenes is an organic compound produced by a variety of plants. So you want to get those herbs because it's very great for you. There's other things that you need that you might want to look into, such as wormwood rind, chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is important for the body. It cleanses all the metals, maybe 90% of all the metals, the toxins, the mercury, all that stuff out your body. You want to get you some chlorophyll, get you some neem, neem oil or the neem leaf, any type of, neem herb or oil out there. Get you some neem. You need a lot of magnesium. You need some spirulina. Spirulina is like chlorophyll. It will clean you out. And you also want to get the herb alfalfa. Another herb that fights against infections is sage. I believe it was Dr. Ali or Laila Africa or one of the teachers that stated that sage possibly gets rid of AIDS and HIV. So those are some things that you really want to have with you. Now, how to protect yourself from 5G radiation, because that is highly important in such a time like now. Here's some food, some herbs that you need that will detox your body from the radiation. You have seaweed. Seaweed is very high in mineral content. It's a sea vegetable. So therefore, this sea vegetable, seaweed, all right, it prevents the assimilation of different radionuclides, heavy metals, such as cadmium, and other environmental toxins out there. So you want to consume you some seaweed. Chlorella, once again, is a sea vegetable that will clean you out, as I stated once before, because it's an algae that has the highest chlorophyll content. See, back in the 1950s, a U.S. Army study confirmed that chlorella was used as an antidote in treatment against atomic radiation. We all know atomic radiation is some serious stuff. So chlorella is something that you really need. Beans and lentils are very great at protecting you from 5G radiation due to the things that's in it. One thing I found in chickpeas and lentils is, I believe it's lysine. Now, lysine is an amino acid, okay, that can keep the diseases, any disease, whether it be cancer, herpes, anything that's viral, lysine will keep that disease from making copies of itself. So if somebody is dealing with an issue that is viral, they want to get some lysine supplements. You also want to get you some selenium supplements. Selenium and lysine are great supplements to take along with zinc. Zinc is one of the 102 minerals that the body needs. Now, there are some plants out there and plant-based foods that will fight against the radiation exposure as well as absorb that radiation. Some of the foods I found that help to fight like exposure to radiation in your body. You came across radiation exposure. These foods such as apples, wheatgrass, sea vegetables that I just mentioned, plums, and beets, they will help against radiation exposure. So if someone has cancer, they have to consume a lot of beets. I would suggest a lot of beetroot powder because by then they have to start making smoothies. And beetroot powder gets rid of breast cancer. Okay? Goji berry powder gets rid of breast cancer. As a matter of fact, if someone has stage 4 breast cancer and it's it's at the highest rate of all cancers, that goji berry powder would get rid of that. Other alternatives for 5G radiation and how to protect yourself from exposure. Get into organize, okay? There's a lot of people out here making organize. Why get an organize? Because organize made with the use of, I believe, silicon. This is how we get a phone screen, silicon, which came from the Silicon Valley in California. But for the most part, organize is made out of iron, bronze, and copper. And those three together acts as a electromagnetic protector. So you want to get into the knowledge of iron. As I said, it's the most powerful element out of the 102 minerals. It's like the mother of all minerals. You know what I'm saying? If you look on the periodic table, you'll see that it's abbreviated as Fe. I call it short for female because it's like the mother of all minerals. Iron will reduce every disease from 60 to 70%, and then you'll be totally done away with whatever issue you can be dealing with from, eczema, psoriasis, lupus, herpes, cancer. Anything that a person is dealing with, they need to consume a lot of iron. Figure out what leaf vegetables is high in iron or contain iron, such as your kale, and your wheatgrass, your arugula, but most importantly, your watercress. But out of all of them, I would say watercress and kale. Watercress and kale are probably the most effective leaf vegetables out there. Now, this particular salt right here is highly effective against 5G radiation. Pink Himalayan salt. If you soak in the tub with some pink Himalayan salt, you know, it will help you to absorb all of that 5G radiation, or if you've been exposed to 5G radiation. So, pink Himalayan salt absorbs the negative radiation, and it gives off negative ions. Also, it contains 84 minerals out of the 102 minerals. So, that is something that is highly needed as a
Randall? I don't know if we lost him. I think he's there.
Am I still on here?
Yeah. Yeah, we got you.
Okay. I'm almost done. One person that I've helped with cervical cancer, I had her soak in a tub of pink Himalayan salt, as well as the other salts, Epsom salt, okay, and sea salt, combined with 8 ounces of 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide. She was able to get rid of the cancer with a healthy diet within a range of 4 to 6 months. So pink Himalayan salt is highly needed for getting rid of negative radiation and cancer. As I once said before, it contains the 84 minerals. It contains enzymes. It contains the nutrients. So this is something that you need. And if you want to decide to put some of that in your water, okay, because I believe there's 2 different kinds. The kind that is not applicable for ingestion, and the kind that you can put in your water. I would try to find the food grade kind, and I would put a little pinch of it in my spring water or distilled water. Another thing you want to do, speaking of water, get you a meter that can test the quality of the water. If you want to know what you're drinking and is it healthy, because, you know, there's a lot of types of waters out there. It is not good for you. You need to test that Fiji water. You need to test all the forms of the spring water, even the high pH level waters. I believe it's called a TDC meter. I'm not quite sure. I would have to get that info. But there's a certain meter that you can order, and it would help you test the quality of the water. If it has a low reading, that means it's good. A high reading of a 50, a lot of stuff is in the water. Now, you know, you want to really get you some natural alkaline water with a pH of, I would say, a 7.5, because that 7.4, somewhere around there. So you want to drink the water that is alkaline and has the same pH level as your blood. Now, a lot of this information that I've touched on, you can go to www.drEileenLBay.com. Eileen is spelled ALIM. EL for L and BEY for Bay.com. You can find him on YouTube. He's a wonderful teacher. I've studied under him on a lot of things I've touched on these particular topics. And they have that turpentine for you. So, if anything, get you some turpentine, pure gum spirits. Read on it, look it up. See what people have said about it. And another thing, one more last thing. When you get a chance, look up Dr. Jennifer Daniels on YouTube. Wonderful person to listen to. So check that out. Get you some 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide, because Hydrogen and oxygen is one of the key elements to life, along with carbon. So those are the things that, you know, you want to have. And also, I want to go over some herbs that will protect you from, a lot of herbs I haven't mentioned that will protect you from 5G radiation. You have nettle. Nettle contains the highest concentration of selenium. Selenium, I believe, is an amino acid just like lysine, which one study confirmed that it may have gotten rid of HIV. So the herb nettle you want to get because it will protect you from 5G radiation. You have alfalfa, as I mentioned once before. Ginkgo. Ginkgo is a herb that is great for your mind. It's great for a lot of things. If a person is having migraines, so forth and so on, you also want to get that not just for the 5G radiation, but for the headaches. Pine bark extract. You want to get you some pine bark extract. Grape seed extract. Grape seed extract is also an antioxidant and antiviral. You want to get you some turmeric. Turmeric has been said to bring a person back to life from a massive heart attack. So you might want to keep that in your car and keep that with you everywhere you go, turmeric. As a matter of fact, the root is more powerful than the herb. So there's a lot of benefits to getting the turmeric root, more so than the powder. The powder is good, but the turmeric is more potent. Jamaican turmeric root is very good for you. Another herb you want to have is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is great for you in a lot of things. You have ginseng and Siberian ginseng. Okay? You got asparagus. You have your red clover. Now these 5 herbs that I'm about to mention have a high content of iron. Iron is the most needed element for the body. Without iron in the body, we are a victim to 30 to 40 diseases that you can think of. So, got to get you some burdock root. Need some dandelion root. Need your milk thistle. You need your peppermint. Now, peppermint is great for breath odor. If a person has toothaches, get you some peppermint. It's a laxative. It's a great herb that you need. As a matter of fact, it keeps, if a person has herpes, it will keep the herpes from the outbreaks, as well as HIV and all those other things. They need to get their hands on some peppermint. Last but not least, yellow dock. Yellow dock is high in iron. Yellow dock, I've seen a testimony where herbs such as burdock root, yellow dock, those high iron herbs, it helped the woman get rid of lupus. And she had it bad. She had it all on her face. And when I seen pictures afterwards, when she started a protocol, including some of these herbs, it helped her get rid of that issue that she was dealing with. You have indoor plants that absorb radiation, which is a great thing. If you have a computer, laptop, whatever, the plant cacti, C-A-C-T-I, cacti, it absorbs a lot of radiation, computer radiation, all types of radiation inside your home. You have a plant called betel, B-E-T-A-L, betel leaf. It will help you with absorbing the radiation. You have the spider plant, the sansevieria, the stone lotus flower, the golden pothos plant. You have your peace lily, your rubber plant, your areca palm plant, and your cactus. All these plants help with radiation even inside your home. So hope that helps somebody, and that's all I wanted to say on this topic.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate everybody who is taking the time to listen for a lot of advice and help and tips on how to protect yourself, how to keep yourself healthy, and, you know, what to get, because knowledge is power. And that's what it's all about, keeping ourselves healthy.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Randall, for giving us that valuable knowledge. It sounds like the earth provides pretty much everything that we need to be able to balance our internal self, yes?
Yes, I definitely agree.
Assimilation to the artificial, but really on a state of going back to the natural sense of what we were created with. And a lot of our DNA and our metabolism and our biology, a lot of those things are within the herbs and the fruits and the vegetables, and so they're very compatible versus it being let's say pharmaceutical, where it's more doing you the good of getting or covering the symptom versus dealing with the root of the issue. So when you begin to restore yourself in the way that you were originally created in, and giving your body the resources that it needs to be able to function in its proper way, just like a computer or an electronic system, everything has to be cleared out so that it can run on the waves that it needs to. Otherwise, it starts to degenerate, and then you see that computer, right, that's supposed to last you 20, possibly 30 years, you have to end up getting a new one within, let's say, 5 years, because it's breaking down. It's not moving the way that it's meant to. And so when you're dealing with a lot of artificial pieces that we are susceptible to with the world that we live in today, a lot of it is being able to counteract it with the nutrition that we need to restore ourselves.
Right.
Now, can you tell us and all of our listeners how to be able to get in contact with you in regards to your herb recipes or any type of products that you have?
Okay, well, I'm actually in the process of, trying to develop a website and more alternatives for reaching me. I want to put out some products out there and get into all of those things, because people really need to get their hands on a lot of things that is great for your body. You know, you can reach me at 202-717-6328. My email is ray.moore17@yahoo.com. And you can also reach me on Facebook, Randall, Randall, Moore, Moore. And so, yeah. And whenever I do get a website, I want to have a lot of things that is needed for a lot of people.
That is absolutely excellent. Thank you so much, Randall. And as we know, if we were live, we would give you a standing ovation, but we are virtual. So let's go ahead and clap you out. Thank you so much, Randall, for your knowledge and your wisdom. And it has been an epic show, guys. It has really been. It has been a event that has been filled with resource, that has been filled with education, that has been filled with being able to understand what we need and how to reduce our losses, especially in today's day and age. When we're talking about being able to restore ourselves, how to be able to protect ourselves from the situations that we find ourselves in, let's say COVID-19, right? COVID-19 is something that everybody is currently dealing with. However, there are ways to be able to reduce our risks and ways to be able to protect ourselves from the elements that we are being subjugated to. We are all brought together here by awareness in the ward. So the 5th Ward in Kashmir Gardens, creosote contamination that has taken root and taken a life of its own and taken lives of its own due to the air contamination, the groundwater, and the ground contamination of the creosote in the the neighborhoods of Fifth Ward and Kashmere Gardens. And so there are certain things that we can do environmentally, even though it is an environmental effect, the cancer is an environmental effect. There are certain things that we can be able to do to not only protect ourselves, but to be able to clear our space so that we live in a better environment. And with that being the case, like you said, the plants that we can be able to put in our environment, that carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange that we have with plants is so monumental. You know, we are so used to chopping down plants and chopping down trees, we don't realize how important it is to be able to have those resources in our day-to-day to protect us from the atmospheric contaminations that we are subjugated to. But something as simple as being able to have that resource in your homes, to be able to have that exchange in your homes, now you're breathing clearer energy, clearer air. Now you're receiving, like you said, the oxygen that is so necessary for our bodies to be able to create an environment of health and wellness and healing. Now you're starting to activate those different pieces. And so there are external pieces that we can be able to do to not be subjugated to the environment that we're around, to not be subjugated to the effects of the artificial, but to be able to enhance not just our lifestyle, but our beings and our well-being. And what is the word I'm looking for? That maintenance, there we go, that maintaining that you're able to do adds longevity, right? So if you maintain something, you're going to have the longevity that comes with being able to keep it in its prime condition. Now you're talking about being able to fight against age-related issues because your body has exactly what it needs to be able to preserve. Without preservation, then you are doing what? Somebody give it to me. You are decreasing without being able to maintain and being able to preserve yourself. Then you are not decreasing, but deteriorating. That's it, deteriorating. And so those are your only options in life. You either preserve or deteriorate. And so creating an environment in which you're able to thrive in, being able to place those plants, being able to add what you need in your dietary system to be able to fight off the unnatural and the natural viruses and contaminations that are around are key. And the only way to be able to do that is to be able to give your body what it needs. We have, let me see, we don't have any more time. We have actually gone over time by a little bit, guys. Yes, by quite a bit. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us through this. It has been an amazing show, an amazing event. We pray that you got what you need from it, the resources that you need. We will have access to all of our guest speakers right here on our live, right here in our Zoom meeting. And if there is anything that you need, please reach out to us, www.circlenetwork.org. You can reach out to us, ask questions, get the resources that our partners have to offer, and we're here to support you. Our main goal for these events, we're now at our 5th event of our 6 events. Our last and final event will be June 24th, 2020, and I pray that we are back in Kashmere Multi-Service Center so that we can be able to see you, we can touch you, we can support you, and you can be able to feel that energy. But while we are at home, while we are being safe, while we are restoring our energies and we are manifesting purpose, reach out to us virtually so that we can be able to connect you to the resources that you need today. We also have on our website at www.circlenetwork.org, if you go to our tab In the Loop, we have a whole list of resources for cancer support, financial resources, physical resources, testing, all of these resources that are nationwide are there, right there at your fingertips to be able to take advantage of them, engage in them, and be able to get really what you need. It is no cost. Download that free booklet and reach out to those resources. If you need holistic healing and holistic guidance, reach out to us. Get in contact with Randall Moore and be able to get what you need. If you need mental clarity, mental support, and just a shoulder to be able to help you to strengthen yourself, because if you're not well, nothing else can be well, reach out to Dr. Wiggins. Get in contact with her. Start that process of being able to restore who you want to be, not who you are currently, because it goes back to a choice. 100%, it's a choice. If you are in a situation and in a space where you realize that this is not what you want to be, this is not what you want to do, then you have the choice to be able to pause, stop everything, and start over, right? Nothing is final until it is final. And so don't be afraid to stop whatever you're doing and evaluate if it brings you value or if it doesn't. And if it doesn't manifest the value that you want, then change your recipe, right? If you need cancer support, MD Anderson is there to be able to help you through that process, through their research, through their resources, through their center, to be able to guide you through that process. We're also partnered with CanCare. CanCare is a national organization, and they are a nonprofit organization of cancer survivors that literally give back to people that are going through cancer. And so you don't have to go through this alone. 0%. There are people that have been through it. They have kicked cancer's butt, and they're there to be able to stand with you shoulder to shoulder as you walk through this. There is no lack of resource. There is no lack of opportunity. All there is a lack of education to those resources. And so we are here to be able to not only educate you on all those resources that you have at your disposal, but to be able to connect you to those pieces as well. So thank you so much. Malu, I pray peace upon everyone that hears this, that shares this, that has got something from this. Thank you so much to our amazing guest speakers for bringing your wisdom, your understanding, and volunteering your time to do exactly what our mission is, which is building by helping others. We appreciate you guys so much, and we look forward to seeing you guys next month, June 24th. Have a peaceful and productive evening. Malu.